There's a bottle in your bathroom cabinet, probably not the first, that you bought with real hope, used maybe half of, and then just quietly stopped believing in. That's not a failure on your part. No cream was ever going to do what it promised, alone. The women in Japan who seem to age slower rarely start with a bottle at all. 4 small habits come first, 3 of them nowhere near a mirror. And the last one costs nothing, takes no time, and quietly decides whether any of it was worth doing. If this kind of quiet, honest way of living speaks to you, stay a while. Like and subscribe to my channel. That's a small way of helping this reach someone else who needs to hear it. Now, let's start. I will talk about outside first because that's where aging skin actually begins. Roughly 90% of what people call aging skin isn't chronological aging at all. It's photo damage, the cumulative effect of ultraviolet light hitting the skin over decades. UV doesn't need to burn to do this work. It doesn't need a beach or a summer day or a visible tan. 10 minutes of walking to lunch, sitting near a window with afternoon light, overcast skies that feel harmless. All of it adds up, quietly, into what most Western women eventually attribute to genetics or to not using enough serum. Japanese women have understood this differently for a long time. The parasol carried through the summer streets isn't a fashion choice. The wide-brimmed hat isn't styling. The long sleeves in July, sometimes worn as separate arm covers slipped on before stepping outside, aren't modesty. Together, they form what's called Nichijō no hiyake taisaku, everyday sun defense. The word Nichijō is an important one. It means everyday, ordinary, part of the daily rhythm, the same category as brushing teeth. Not something you do when you remember, not something reserved for the beach. Something built into the act of leaving the house. Sunscreen sits inside this framework too, applied not because a woman is going somewhere specific, but because she's simply going outside. Reapplied at midday without ceremony. Worn even on cloudy days because UVA passes through clouds and windows both, and the skin doesn't distinguish between the two. This is the first layer of anti-aging in Japan, and it's the one that determines how much work every other layer has to do. Skin that isn't damaged doesn't need to be repaired, so the next layer isn't outside at all. It's what's on the plate. There's no single Japanese superfood behind youthful skin. There isn't a secret ingredient, a proprietary blend, a supplement that explains it. What there is, quieter and more consistent, is 3 foundational categories that appear across nearly every Japanese meal, breakfast through dinner, week after week, for decades. The first is green tea. Not the sweetened version sold in bottles in the West, the real one, sencha in the afternoon, matcha whisked into hot water in the morning, hojicha in the evening. What matters isn't the ceremony, it's a compound inside it called epigallocatechin gallate, or EGCG, one of the most well-studied antioxidants in nutritional science. It works at the cellular level, protecting collagen from oxidative damage, and it enters the body multiple times a day, quietly, without effort. The second is fatty fish. Mackerel, salmon, sardines, often grilled simply, often eaten small, often served alongside rice at breakfast rather than treated as a dinner event. Omega-3 fatty acids from these fish do something skincare products can't. They nourish the lipid barrier of the skin from inside the body. That barrier is what holds moisture in and irritation out. Damage it with too little omega-3 or too much processed food, and no cream applied to the surface will fully compensate. The third is fermented food. Miso soup with breakfast, natto, fermented soybeans, a few times a week, tsukemono, the small pickled vegetables served with almost every meal. These deliver live cultures to the gut consistently, and the connection between gut health and skin health is now well enough established to have its own name in dermatological research, the gut-skin axis. Inflammation in the gut shows up as inflammation on the face. A gut that's kept in balance shows up as skin that's harder to visibly age. This is why Japanese women don't rely on collagen supplements or drinkable beauty powders. The support is already inside the meal. 3 categories, present quietly, every day, for a lifetime. Even the best nutrition, though, has to reach the surface of the skin to matter. That's the work of the third habit. The word is Kobido, sometimes written with the characters for ancient way of beauty, sometimes described as the Japanese art of facial massage. Its roots go back roughly 500 years, and its original clients weren't ordinary women. Kobido was refined in the imperial court and later became a defining practice of the geisha tradition, where visible aging carried real professional consequences. It survived into modern Japan because it worked, and because it required nothing except time and attention. The practice itself is deceptively simple: 5 to 10 minutes at night before sleep. A few drops of tsubaki oil, pressed from camellia flowers used in Japan for centuries, warmed between the fingertips. Slow, deliberate movements, upward from the jaw toward the temples, outward from the center of the face toward the ears, and gently along the sides of the neck. The pressure is light. This isn't about kneading muscle, it's about moving blood and lymph. That distinction matters. The face is dense with tiny lymphatic vessels that carry fluid, waste, and cellular byproducts away from the tissue. When lymph moves well, the skin looks clearer, brighter, less puffy in the morning. When it stagnates, which happens with age, with poor sleep, with prolonged screen time and forward head posture, the face begins to look tired even when the person isn't. Kobido keeps that system moving nightly. Blood flow follows the same logic. The nutrients from that Japanese meal, the EGCG, the omega-3, the compounds from fermented food, only reach the skin through the capillaries feeding it. Massage stimulates those capillaries directly, ensuring that what's been eaten during the day actually arrives where it's needed at night. The Western approach treats skincare as absorption. What can we put on the surface that will sink in? Japanese women approach it as circulation. What can we do so that everything already inside the body reaches the surface where it counts? Everything so far takes time and daily effort, but the fourth habit takes 0 seconds, and if it's wrong, it quietly undoes the other 3. The water most Western women use to wash their face is quietly working against everything else they do for their skin. Hot water feels good. It steams the mirror, opens the pores, feels like it's doing something. What it's actually doing, every morning and every night, is stripping away the thin lipid barrier on the surface of the skin. That barrier is what holds moisture in. It's what keeps irritants out. It's the same barrier that omega-3 fatty acids were quietly built to reinforce from inside. Hot water breaks it down at a rate that outpaces the body's ability to repair it. Japanese women don't do this. The water used to wash the face in Japan is described by a specific word: Nurumu, lukewarm. Not cold, which shocks the skin, not hot, which strips it. Somewhere between 30 and 33 degrees Celsius, roughly body temperature. Warm enough to lift oil and product residue, cool enough to leave the barrier intact. This isn't a wellness trend or a recent discovery. It's how Japanese girls learn to wash their face as children, the same way they learn to brush their teeth. There's no debate about it, no article that recommended it recently, no product being sold around it. It's simply how the practice is done, and it's been done that way for generations, quietly protecting a barrier that most other cultures spend money trying to rebuild. 0 seconds of extra effort, 0 cost. But if the food is right, the protection is right, and the circulation is right, and this one thing is wrong, the barrier being repaired all day gets torn back down every night. It's the smallest habit on the list, and it's the one that determines whether the other 3 actually hold. 4 habits working at 4 different layers. The sun on the outside, the food on the inside, the circulation in between, the water at the surface. Together, they build and protect the skin from every direction at once before a single product enters the picture. The cream isn't step 1 in the Japanese approach, it's step 5. And when the first 4 are in place, it does what it was designed to do, quietly, without needing to work twice as hard to make up for what wasn't done earlier in the day. When they aren't, no cream, however expensive, can carry that weight alone. Which of these 4 are you starting with? Leave it in the comments. We read every one. Thanks for spending a few minutes with Wabitara today. Every like, share, and subscription helps this channel grow and brings these stories to more people who genuinely enjoy them. Your support makes a real difference. Take care of what you already have and see you in the next video.